Hello everyone, ladies, gentlemen, and otaku alike. This is Recall Reviews. Attilio back here again, and I recall it for you. Today, I'd like to talk about Avengers Endgame. And just as the title of this video suggests, this is a spoiler-free review. I will not go into great detail about the story or the characters. I will only give a brief overview. So, without wasting much time, let's get right into the review. First, I'd like to talk about the cinematography. Honestly, there wasn't anything too spectacular about the camera work in this feature. It was pretty standard action fare, wide open sweeping shots during the grand fight scenes, well-placed close-ups, and some unique angles, as well as lingering on just the right shots to let the right atmosphere and mood take hold. Don't misunderstand, even though I'm saying there wasn't anything too special in the camera work, it was done solidly and effectively. Even standard camera techniques can be masterful in the right hands, and the Russo brothers most certainly have mastered their art. Next is the music. It goes without saying that the Marvel movies in the MCU all have outstanding music. The soundtrack of this movie is most definitely memorable. Using many audio cues from past films in the franchise, it really gives you a nostalgic feeling, like when your playlist pops up with the song you used to love from your childhood. Every song matched perfectly to every scene, but none are any that I would choose to put on my personal playlist. And as a quick side note, as a wrestler, music is an important thing. It helps establish the first impression on the crowd, especially for those who don't know who you are. And on occasion, when my theme music is, for whatever reason, unused at a show, the DJ usually uses the Avengers theme as a default. So yes, I have entered the ring to the Avengers. Now we come to the action. Okay, I'll say this first. This is not an action movie. There's actually only about 5 fights in the movie as a whole. About 4 smaller skirmishes until the final act and the grand battle. With that said, the action is very well choreographed and very fast-paced. It can be easy to miss some smaller moments that could add to the overall experience of each scene, especially in that aforementioned grand finale. Speaking of this for a brief moment, this was one of the single greatest final battle scenes in any movie I have ever seen, comic book or not. Next up to the chopping block are the special effects. As with the music, the effects in the movie are phenomenal. Yes, most of them are all computer generated. The CG was solid and looked it. It, again, isn't anything we have not seen in any other Marvel or action movie in general. Well rendered and well executed, the budget definitely shows, and the results were good. Most of the time, you couldn't tell it was CG if you allowed yourself the opportunity to just get lost in the film. This next part, I'll talk about the characters and story in the same boat. The reason being is because this is a true character-driven story. Just like Berserk, this can only happen with these characters in this setting, in this universe. I can't really talk much about the characters or their individual arcs in the film without giving away too much, so I'll leave it at this. Each character had a moment to shine and was utilized to their fullest. They grow and develop throughout the story with satisfying results for each. At least for the most part, depending on how you personally view it. Continuing on with the story itself, I can't really say much without talking about Infinity War. As both movies were filmed back-to-back as one movie, the story itself is not complete, unless you watch them back-to-back. Infinity War feels like the first act of a movie. It just kind of ends at a natural progression point in a story. If you look at the structure of both movies together, Infinity War plays out as a standard first act of an action movie, the whole thing being mostly action and fight sequences. Like many other action movies such as Expendables, it hooks you with a flashy opening, and the second act gives the exposition. In this case, Endgame. The majority of Endgame was fleshing out the story and characters in the aftermath of the Thanos snap from Infinity War. In this, we got many slow moments of our main characters just being normal people helping others any way they can. In these slower moments, we really got a chance to see the actors really turn in an excellent performance. This is important because we usually don't get to see them act in most of the other Action Fest films in the saga. My final thoughts on Avengers Endgame are, it is an exceptionally well-made movie of this caliber. It is truly unlike any other MCU movie in its execution. The best way I can describe it is it really feels like a genuine movie. For the majority of the film, there was a mix of sci-fi, fantasy, spy thriller, and a genuine story about people and being human. What I mean by it feels like a real movie is it doesn't feel like a comic book movie until the end. Another way to describe it is Logan meets Watchmen. For those who understand, you'll know what I mean. With all that being said, you would probably think I would give this movie the highest praise. Now, I will say this was the absolute best MCU movie in the franchise. But I personally, despite how great this movie is, if I look at it only as Endgame, even though I would love to give it a 10, it in and of itself is only part of a whole film. As such, I feel I can only give it a lower but still strong 8 out of 10. I recommend watching Infinity War and Endgame back to back to get the very much deserved 10 out of 10. I do highly recommend this movie and think you should definitely go out and watch it. Well, thank you for watching, and feel free to click on either of these two links and check out some more of my content. Like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to request something you may like to see me cover in the future. And other places you can see me are at the Hudson Valley Comic-Con, May 11th and 12th in Poughkeepsie, New York, as well as in Goshen, New York for the East Coast Pro Wrestling Hudson Valley event, May 18th. This was Recall Reviews, and I recall it for you.